It's rare that you can get an industry standard for roughly $100, a precision instrument that's used by the top professional names and companies. It's a little like being offered a brand new Area Alexa for $3,000, say, something well within the reach of most independent artists and professionals. Of course, the Sony MDR 7506 isn't a wildly expensive piece of gear being offered at a huge discount. It's always priced at just about $100. But a lot of video professionals don't own a pair because they don't see the value. And I'm here to tell you, get it. Let me tell you why. If you do a search for the 7506, you'll quickly learn that while not considered the very best of headphones for field monitoring, they're used by just about every sound professional. They're the Sennheiser MKH 416s of headphones. Sure, there are DPA and other shotgun mics that sound better, but even their owners will reach for a 416. If you show up on set with a pair of these, people will know you're legit. Now, it's hard to improve as a cinematographer, at least it is for me. I find it's difficult to raise my game to the next level, partly because after you get the basics, it's one of those all boats rise at once scenarios. It's hard to get better unless all of your components, the sound, the lights, the edit, get better at the same time. So I've been focused on finding tools that help me see better, like better monitors, and hear better, like the Sonys, and free me up from wrestling with my gear. Problem solving is always a part of video production, but it helps if the problems are artistic and not technical. Yes, you can monitor your sound with a pair of cheap $30 headphones, something I did for years, and they'll tell you if you're clipping or if an airplane is passing overhead. But you won't actually hear the sound until you're back in your studio, so you can't find the perfect distance for miking a voice or the best position for Foley. And $30 headphones will last maybe 2 to 3 years, whereas a $95 pair of Sonys will last 7 to 10 years. Dollar for year, cheaper headphones don't save you any money. So let's take a moment and go over what's important in these specs, what you need from field headphones versus studio headphones. First, they're closed design. This means that they allow less exterior sound in, which is obviously a plus if you want to hear just what your audio recorder is capturing from the mic and not the chatter that's happening behind you. When it comes to manufacturer's specs, frequency response is something that is so often removed from reality that it's pretty useless comparing response ranges. They usually have no relationship to what you actually hear, so you can pretty much ignore those numbers. Ohms, on the other hand, are one of the most important factors for headphones. Ohms is basically the amount of resistance, or how powerful your headphone amp needs to be to power your headphones. Most phones and MP3 players, for example, have very weak amplifiers, so you need a low impedance, low ohm headphone, or they're going to be too quiet. Low impedance would be, say, under 50 ohms. Most dedicated audio recorders are only a little bit better than that, so it's helpful to have your headphones be under 100 ohms. But here's the rub. Low impedance headphones typically sound worse. They distort more easily and have less clarity and dynamic range. It's harder and more expensive to make low impedance, low ohm headphones that sound great. And that's where the Sony shines. So while most cheap headphones will have the low impedance specs that you want, you're going to lose your audio quality and the ability to isolate just the sound that you want to hear. And you're going to pay to get those abilities back. The spectacular HiFiMan HE6, for example, has closed design and 50 ohms of resistance and breathtaking audio quality. And they also cost about $1,300. So how do the 7506 sound? Well, I'm sorry that I really can't share the audio with you in the same way that I can share an image or a slider movement, but they're rich and immersive with strong bass and clear, sharp treble. There's very little distortion and a nice sense of spatiality. You can hear the different positions of the instrument. They're actually, I would say, a little aggressive in that the closed design sort of mutes the outside world and the full tone just sort of pushes you into an auditory present. Now, the 7506s aren't perfect by any means. One of the complaints, which I think is true, is that they sound too good. The bass response is too deep and refined, and the treble is too clear. Now, this seems like a great problem to have, unless that's not how the audio sounds on other systems. It's almost like the 7506 have been processed and EQ'd already. Now that sounds like a dumb statement on the surface, but in reality, it's not. With low impedance headphones, the resistance isn't 63 ohms at every frequency. Some frequencies may, in fact will, have more impedance and thus be quieter. And my sense is that the middle frequencies of the 7506 have higher impedance, giving the EQ'd sound of a boosted bass and a sharp treble. But to be honest, I don't mind that so much because it tells me what the audio could sound like in a good way after I'm done with my edit. And there are some other niggling shortcomings. The wire is permanently attached to the headphones, and the quality of the wire is great, but it would be nice if it was a plug-in. That way, if the wire goes bad, or if I just want to use a shorter wire, I can just replace it. Also, not everyone is going to like the coiled middle section of the wire. It's a very functional choice, but it's a lot messier to handle. The headphones themselves are relatively comfortable after you adjust them, and you can probably wear them for a couple of hours without irritation. But they are a closed design, which makes them less comfortable if you just want to listen to music. There's something slightly claustrophobic about closed headphones that can make casual listening just kind of tiring. They're much better for serious listening, and man, are they great for that. Now, as creators, we should be looking for tools that allow us to work deeper, more expressively. Your cans are something that are really kind of easy to overlook compared to a sexy new lens or a flashy gimbal, but they can help you go deeper in a way that is more thoughtful. They can, if you let them, make you stop what you're doing and focus on the beauty of just one thing, one element of your craft before moving on to the myriad of other things that you have to accomplish for your shoot. And with the 7506s, they push you into that world of sound so quickly that you can hear what you need to hear and just move on. Or you can take a moment, sit back, and relax in that world.